Hello, Planet Watchers. We are here to talk about Aquarius from the Great Polar Vortex. It is
Yeah.
frigid AF.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed. The winter is doing its thing, and with or without us. So I guess we have to get with the movement.
So I guess it's as cold in Europe as it is in the Midwest, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've not seen more than 34 degrees here, Fahrenheit, that is to say, all week. And I think it's going to stay like this for a nice long time.
34 degrees Fahrenheit actually sounds delightful. It is negative temperatures here now.
Oh,
Yeah,
negative Fahrenheit?
yeah, negative
Oh my,
Fahrenheit.
oh my
And
God. Ugh,
and
that
colder
is cold.
when yeah, even colder with the wind chill. So I'm thinking about calling DoorDash to see if they can deliver some degrees here because
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, I'm recording from home as we can see because it was just too cold to get out, quite honestly.
Oh, true.
There's
Oh,
gonna
true.
be
I haven't ventured out in a couple of days now. Feels good here.
oh I know, right? It's so nice at home. So there's gonna be some heater sounds and some pet sounds. So we'll just deal with it because working from home. It's relax.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm trying to keep all my wildlife out of my office so that we can talk.
Yes. So we've got Aquarius coming up. It seems like the year has gotten a slow start energetically.
Well, yes, we've still been in Capricorn and all this time, and Capricorn is the beginning of winter weather. This is when the bears go into their caves and everybody's hiding. There's a wonderful story. The the bears, the bears are the Swiss
Oh
animal,
yeah, yes, true.
and in the zoo in Basel, the bears went into their caves, their artificial caves, the sister on one side and the brother on the other side. And the sister dug a hole in the wall in between them and went to sleep with her brother, which I thought was great.
It's a two bear
Usually they
night.
usually they do that all by themselves.
Yeah,
But no, she wanted to curl up with her brother, and so she did. She must have been really cold.
yeah. If I had a bear to curl up with, I
Oh,
would do.
I tell you.
This is a little ridiculous. Yes,
I know we're not being very serious here, but it's going to get seriouser and seriouser as time goes on. So there's some big
really.
things coming up. Oh, yeah. You're very well. Aquarius officially begins in a few days in on the 20th of January, but monster big. It's like 26 point headline news with the ingress just at the time of the ingress of the sun into Aquarius is being accompanied by and has on its little back the planet Pluto, which is making its third actually ingress into Aquarius as well. Big news, big news, very important movement. It's as though, oh, I'm keeping fingers crossed, saying it's as though a change of monarchy. The king is dead, Pluto in Capricorn is dead. Long live the king, Pluto in Aquarius. It's really that important as far as the energy change in the world. And as we talked about in our yearly overview, it's a paradigm change that we're all going to be feeling slowly but surely through the year, and rather radically, actually, right now as things get started.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
an incredible way to start the year, and with a little help from the moon, which we're going to talk about on and off. Now, the moon is moving very fast, of course, but always serves as sort of a trigger to things that are going on around it. So, at the same time as this ingress of Pluto and the sun into Aquarius, the moon is making a fantastic, fertile, helpful trine aspect to these two planets, and coming from Gemini. Now, the moon in Gemini creates the buzz, creates a contact with the people first of all through the media. There will be a huge amount of talk in all of the media about this movement scientific media in any case, and specific media about this movement of Pluto into Aquarius. So already the communication is getting involved. We're going to see a lot of activity from the fast planets as well through this period of January that I'm going to be talking about because they're important. But as I was drawing up this scenario for you, I had this image of literally a change of monarchy. We're going to see all the planets, all the fast planets coming by, paying homage to the new king, this kind of thing. They're all coming through to say hello and to let them know that they're there to help. And in this shift, because it is an important shift. Um, for instance, Mercury is going to make a visit to what I call polite visits, diplomatic visits to Pluto from the 4th until the 12th of February. Now, this again brings this notion of communication. Yes, sire, we're going to tell all of the realm that you're new in place and that you're settling down and taking over the head of state. Mercury's in charge of that. Then Venus is going to make an official visit from the 15th to the 25th of February. This is again a sort of friendly thing from the diplomats. Venus is in charge of diplomacy, and she's making her debut with Pluto, saying, "Well, this is how things are done in Aquarius. These are the people you need to be in touch with. This is how to approach so and so." So the rules of decorum are going to be changing as well with this visit, which is rather nice. Mars maybe a little angrier. He's making a visit too. These are all in conjunction, of course. They're coming across Aquarius and across the sun from the 11th to the 27th of February. Now, Mars, wherever he goes, is gives us this message of a certain discontent. Mars, who's coming to visit Pluto, is saying, the people are angry. There's a lot of rebellion being put in place along in the groundswell, and that you're going to have to watch out for in a very near future. And maybe I'll be there to help you, or maybe not. Maybe I'm on the other side. So Mars is sort of creating a at the same time as these other planets are being very polite, I must say. Mars is sort of rattling his saber and saying, be ready for some important changes that may or may not please you.
Oh dear.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking, in any case, this Pluto having moved now into Aquarius is a reminder of the important movements in the collectivity. It's important for the human race to be getting ahead. There's a new cry for independence. There's a new cry for innovation, progress. Science is going to be showing up in here in a lot of different ways that we'll talk about in a minute. But mostly this movement from Aquarius into Aquarius reminds us all of a time of looking for new liberty, looking for new advancement, together and individually. This gets us out of this old Capricornian thing that we've known with Pluto for all these last few years. This horrible authoritarian movement, very conservative and very right-wing movement around the world, in fact, and now is being slowly but surely shifted toward a new insight coming from the collectivity, from the people, from movements toward a new democracy, which I think is going to be extremely positive through
Yeah.
this year and into the coming years. These movements of the heavy planets, the slow planets, are extremely slow. The shifts that they represent are slow to catch on. We're going to have all year, and well, Pluto's going to stay in Aquarius until March of 2043. So we'll rather have time to get used to this new movement, but it is an important new movement, and now it's happening. Now it's happening, which is
Mhm.
exciting times for us.
No, that is rather nice. And so far, it sounds like a court drama, like a high court, like not judicial, but like the king's court
Yeah,
drama, right?
exactly. This is precisely the image I could cut, the only real image that came through to me as I was drawing this up. And I kept seeing, first of all, the fast planets going by and nodding. There's a lot of nodding and shaking of hands and self-congratulation going on this month, which is really delightful. Also, the other slow planets among themselves are all receiving very delightful visits from these same fast planets earlier on before they get into Aquarius. So there's a sense of harmony even within this important shift, which is always a supportive element after all. This is wherever we can pick up any harmony going on between the planets in that are in Taurus, that are in and in Pisces. Why, let's take it. That's only going to help.
Right,
So we'll
right.
talk about these things too.
And between the last time we talked and now, because of course you're going to be coming out next week on the podcast to talk about the astrological implications of 2024 and what we can expect.
Oh,
And
yep.
between times, you mentioned that we had a similar conjunction in the sky in the revolutionary period.
Of course, we're talking about the American Revolution.
Yes.
The last time Pluto had this same back and forth, sort of straddling the fence between Capricorn and Aquarius was exactly the period of 1777 and through 1778. Now, if you remember your history from high school, you'll see that these are absolutely the times when the revolutionary movement, new movement of masses who want to be free of the old Capricornian monarchies that were existing, the old forms were happening in the American colonies, was happening in France, was happening in Poland, was happening in various countries in Europe. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. And just again represents probably in South America, although I'm not familiar with their history. A lot of these same shakeups were happening all over the world, which is the whole idea, after all, of movements that are touching planetary movements that are touching on every civilization as we know it.
Mhm. True. So yeah, some big paradigm shifts coming up.
Oh yes, oh yes. I think this is going to be major. We won't see all of it this year. It's going to take a few years to uh, get things shaped up, but now's the time. Now this is when it's happening. Now I've got to say, through the year, Pluto is going to make another retrogradation. It's going to leave Aquarius and go back into Capricorn before going direct again in on the 19th of November. So we're going to see periods throughout this year where old regimes are just fighting and scratching and biting and trying to hold on to their power places as much as possible. We're going to see much infighting. We're going to see real death spasms of these old, I want to say, monarchies, these old authoritarian systems. It's going to take a while, but I think once we're into the end of this year, 2024, that we're finally going to see Pluto taking on its full power. And with that, taking on a full communication with the people, with these various peoples, government situations in various countries that are crying out for new leadership.
It's interesting because just the other day I did an interview with Carol Obley and Vincent Jenna, both who have been on the Radiate Wellness podcast, and they're both internationally known and acclaimed psychics. And we did a 2024 predictions panel. And they both were talking about a shift and change in consciousness,
Yes,
which is interesting in how it aligns with astrology, right?
should do.
Right, exactly, because we're talking about the same thing, and that is like our connection to our higher self or higher powers, which astrology definitely is. So I thought it was very interesting when all of these things just align.
Perfectly. It's always fascinating to me, and especially the March of History. Especially, it's important. People love to plug into astrological predictions and so on, but every serious astrologer pays a lot of time looking backward as well, which is why I was fascinated, first of all, by these movements of Pluto, the movements of Saturn at the same time, as it makes its various revolutions and various uh, changes of sign, are always based on things that have happened in the past. The colors change, the situations change, of course, the time frame changes, all the references we can have change, but the movement, whatever that movement is virtually the same and will feel the same as we're looking in from the outside. So yes, it's a fascinating business. The cycles in astrology are really fantastic to watch.
Yeah, and that's a good point that these cycles in astrology, they behave the same way when they come around again. The details
That's it.
may change, but the meat of it, the move.
Exactly, exactly, is going to be the same, but the planets in the different signs are predictable to that degree. They act virtually the same way, whatever the situation, the physical situation is around it. And of course, these cogs are all interacting. So the situation with Pluto now is going to look different because Saturn and Uranus, the two ruling planets, are in different positions. So they're going to be helping in different ways, nice ways, in fact, when I think about it here. So each individual situation, the new period of revolution is going to look vaguely familiar, act possibly a little bit differently, but will certainly look extremely familiar to us.
Right. And it's interesting because both Vincent and Carol and myself also are seeing that, it could get kind of rough, when we're talking about we're changing attitudes and we're changing consciousness. There are those who are not going to want to go along with it. Right.
There
And it
are a lot
feels
of people that
bumpy.
aren't going to want to go along with it, in fact. And this has always been a problem for me. What we want to have happen according to the astrological plan on paper doesn't always look the same on the ground, because people still are people, and they will act out of greed. They will act out of selfishness. They will act out of misplaced guidelines coming from who knows where. Old habits are very hard to change. So unfortunately, to a certain degree, we have to count on good old Homo sapiens, more or less sapiens, to carry the flags for us. Sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't, at least not on schedule.
Well, and I think that it just bears repeating. We need to be as kind as possible to everyone we meet, just to keep those wheels lubricated, right? Rather than throwing a wrench in the works.
Exactly, exactly. There's a saying that you must be kind to people as you're going up because you're likely to meet the same people as you're coming down. And I think that's true in a lot of different situations. And Uh, we can ideally, in our individual quests, we're also representing individual guidelines, some sort of model for other people to maybe fall into, and this will help them in their individual quests when they're ready to wake up to it.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, yeah, you never know what a person's going through, so you might as well be kind. All right.
Exactly.
We've got
A
some
little empathy is not a bad thing.
no, and so we've got some good times coming up in Aquarius, it sounds like. Any dates that you would want to highlight?
Oh yeah, well let's just look at these at the other slow planets because they're, as I said, they're being extremely cooperative in the midst of this turmoil because it is a turmoil, but they're being extremely cooperative in their different ways. And I wanted to hit on them a little bit, giving you some details about what we can expect. Oh, one thing involving Pluto is a very interesting sextile being formed from the 5th to the 23rd of February with our one of our favorite asteroids, Pallas Athena, who seems to be in charge of legal systems, getting things in order. She's in mythology, she's the head goddess of the city-state of Athens, and was in charge of the development of the Senate, development of government, development of legal system that they were using. So she's active here in a sextile with this new Pluto, and it is going to have a lot to say about legal decisions that are being established during this period, legalistic movements as well. I think this includes the elections that are coming up around the world that are going to be the ones happening, especially this first half of the year, are going to be touched by this sextile to Pallas Athena, and new venues for old court cases that are going to finally, with the help of Jupiter, I'll talk about in a minute, finally get moving again, and we're going to see some important movements on a purely legal basis. I'm thinking of the international courts that are beginning to look at threats of certain menace of genocide. In any case, there's been talk about finally carrying to court situations that have been called genocide in Gaza, in Ukraine, different war sites where finally a finger is being pointed and saying, no, you can't do war like that anymore. This is a new era. And we're going to talk about new procedures, I think legal procedures against wrongdoing. Again, we're coming back to this notion of Aquarius. This at the same time as when the rights of man were drawn up. The all of the legal situations that have been serving as a matrix for legal systems everywhere are being threatened, are being ignored. But with this movement of Aquarius, they're going to come again to the surface. No, the rights of man have been established and have to be protected, have to be honored. So this is all working into new court procedures, new litigations that I think are going to go on. This month is very active in that. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about Pluto, which is quite a lot. But let's look at these other planets. Neptune is being visited earlier on by these same lovely fast planets in order. Mercury, Venus, and Mars, which are all in a bunch still in Capricorn these days, and they're sort of moving along together. You know, it's like the train of attendants that we were looking at in the King's Court. You know, they're all lined up, and each one in his turn is putting in his 2 cents worth. Well, they're working quite well with the slow planets these days. Mercury again is going to Neptune, first of all, is in charge of huge bursts of creativity when it's used properly. So we're in highly with these visits. Mercury, first of all, from the 30th of January to the 5th of February, is going to be heightening creative writing. We're going to see films coming out or films being created, new plays, new literature that seems to profit from this huge explosion of creativity in all of the arts. The same is true with the sextile coming from Venus from the 10th to the 16th of February, which Venus is going to especially touch on the visual arts, on on new fashion modes. Venus and Mercury, when Venus and Neptune, I'm sorry, when they're in a proper helpful attitude, have a lot to do with setting new styles, new visions of in clothes, in furnishings, in architecture, in all of the more visual arts, building arts. And I think this is definitely going to go on. We're going to see starts of new projects uh, in during this period. Pay attention to the films that are coming out. It's always most intriguing to me. Of course, these films have been in the works for a year before they ever come
Or
out
more.
in the theaters, but they tend to come on the market exactly when they're supposed to, exactly when their message is talking about these things we're talking about right now. It's most intriguing. So really most intriguing. So with the Mercury, with Venus coming in contact with Neptune, we're going to see a lot of science fiction. We're going to see a lot of dream world fantasy films coming out, subjects in theater and in literature as well. Now Mars is in going to make his sextile as well from the 1st to the 13th of February. Mars and Neptune are kind of interesting when they're working in close, polite situations, because Mars can help realize the dream world. This Mars adds his muscles to what have otherwise been our phantasms, our daydreaming. So he can be extremely helpful to these other artistic treatments. Diplomacy as well. Mars, when he's being nice, is trying to help it on a diplomatic level. So yes, perhaps he can do something useful for us through here. Again, when he visits Uranus. Now this is important. From the 24th of January to the 10th of February, Mars is also going to be in a beautiful trine with Uranus. Now, again, Uranus and Mars are extremely explosive, extremely excitable, are both very electric and will push toward violence. However, in a proper aspect, this is going to be extremely useful energy in innovations in communication, in the arts as well, in science. Certainly, we've talked the last few months about how Mars and Uranus are helping so much in questions of mobility, the exoskeletal developments, and so on. Also, nuclear energy. I think we're going to see new sources of energy altogether, which is always pleasing.
Always wonderful.
Yeah, the very helpful. Again, Venus is doing the same thing. Mercury is making the same visit. So these vast planets are going to be working together, basically, in sustaining and sort of shaking up the art world and the scientific world as well.
Mhm.
There's some nice moon dates here, maybe you can point out. The moon is going to be extremely helpful in all of these ventures on the 29th of January, on the 3rd of February, on the 7th to the 9th of February, and again on the 11th and 12th of February. A little less helpful, perhaps, and especially with Mars in mind, on the 31st of January, where she can be a little hateful as she's making a square to moon square to Mars, can get you in trouble with the police, with getting parking tickets. I mean, you'll be speeding, you'll be doing parking in wrong places. Be really careful in treatments with the law, uh, especially I'm saying the 31st of January. But for the rest, this is really a nice movement. Same is true for Saturn. Saturn's getting a lot of help from Mercury, again, from the 14th to the 27th of January. A lot of help from Venus, from the 23rd to the 31st of January. Now, what can we imagine with these movements with Saturn? We're going to find, first of all, Saturn and Venus have a great deal to do about with economy and with movements of money, right? We're seeing now, and we'll see through the month, a certain vetting of bitcoins and other crypto monies that are finally being justified, that are finally having paid their dues and being accepted in various banks, in various banking movements. We're seeing here in Switzerland, for instance, uh, um, our pension funds that are thinking seriously about having the possibility to invest in crypto money. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but it's certainly active right now. We're going to see the same progress, the same positive shift in mining ventures, especially in mercury and copper.
Mm.
So those are some important movements, I think, of with Saturn and with the fast planets going in a very nice sextile with Saturn. We're up for a monetary shift. We'll talk more about this in future months, but Saturn in itself will be representing an important monetary shift, economic shift through the year. This will be especially remarkable, I think, next month in February, again in May, and again in September, for very difficult to explain reasons that mundane astrologers are looking at. So all of this is shaping up to rather redefine our uses of money, where we can invest and how we're investing in money, and how these invested funds are being used. Could be,
Interesting.
yeah, could be fairly interesting for all of us, in fact.
Well, this came up in a hypnosis session yesterday. The higher self said not to save money, but not to spend it either, which I thought was interesting. I did,
Very,
yeah.
very. Yeah, that'll take a bit of meditation, won't it?
Yes,
I expect it has a lot to do with these economic shifts we're going to see, and how people will be treating their money and their goods in general quite differently.
and that ways of saving money may, like investing in crypto, for example, may
Mhm.
not turn out as well as we would like, defeating the
Also,
purpose of saving that money.
sure, sure.
So it
Yeah,
was,
that will take yeah, time will tell, and we'll as we get further into this again an economic paradigm shift that
uh-huh.
will be that I think will be defined better in some near future.
Yeah, even the predictions panel was talking about this, how goods and the transport of goods may encounter some problems and
Mhm.
necessitating purchasing local, bartering, that type of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I think we're definitely getting involved in all of these movements, especially with Mercury. That's interesting, this business of local production, local investing, and so on, because Mercury brings us in close contact again. This has everything to do with direct communication. We'll be shortening, I think, distances necessary for delivery of goods and so on, services. And just looking up closer to home to what's going on around us, which I think is a very good thing.
Mhm.
Same is true with Venus. Uh, this is a nice movement of Venus, actually. 23rd, 31st of January. We're going to see a sort of uh, a building up of relationships. Saturn, Venus always. This is a beautiful mythology story, of course. You know, I'm a mythology freak. I absolutely love it, and especially when I see Venus and Saturn getting along so well, reminds me of the early days of the marriage of Aphrodite, Venus, and Hephaestus, who was essentially Saturn. It was a forced marriage. Zeus, who was the sort of adopted father of Aphrodite, got really tired of this crazy, out of control teenager and married her off to Hephaestus, who was an old, beaten up, he really ugly, basically pretty ugly god, and who was supposed to be taking care of her, kind of straightening each other out. But in the early days, at least, of this forced marriage, they did each other a lot of good. uh, Venus, Aphrodite managed to soften some of the sharp corners of Saturn's character, rather overwhelming, overbearing character. And Saturn managed to teach Venus a great deal about a decorum, diplomacy, correction, art as well. Helped her a lot to grow up, which Saturn does very well for all of us. So, so when I see these two planets coming into close conjunction, first of all, I think about a maturation period for all relationships, and especially those involving older people, our parents, perhaps, other figures of authority. We can finally tame our boss, who's always been kind of a bear, and maybe turn him around and make a friend or a good cohort, at least, of him. Softening of relationships that can finally work for each person involved, which is a nice tendency as well. Again, a very nice day for that kind of carrying on is the 28th of January, where the moon is helping out a whole lot.
Lovely.
Yeah, this is nice, huh? It's not all bad news. Every now and then, not often, but every now and then I have a really nice month for all of us. And I think this is going to be one. Jupiter even is finally getting awake. He woke up and decided to go direct again on the 1st of January, and will be in a beautiful, again, another sextile to Saturn all month long, well into March, in fact. So so he'll be sharing all these positive aspects that are coming from Venus and Mars. His the Now Jupiter is responsible for justifying uh, movements, legalizing movements coming from the arts. Finally, people are getting patents. They're getting permission to build. They're getting uh, legal justification behind their actions. And this is always useful too. A lot of progress. We're going to see a lot of progress now, only now, in these different legislations we were talking about, in the election processes that are going on these first few months of 2024, I think are going to be helped by this new movement of Jupiter. Court procedures everywhere are going to finally speed up a little bit, which I think is going to be good, especially through the elections that are going on in this very near future.
Yes. Well,
There's one, well,
Mhm.
I've just got to point out that the square coming from Mars, which is from the 15th to the 29th of February, and well into, again, through the month of March. Mars will be square to Jupiter. And this is always a time when legal battles can turn quite nasty. All of a sudden, what was going fairly well on paper gets very nasty verbally, and new trenches are being dug, new sides are being taken, new and rather petty arguments come up in movement in legal movements. So we're going to have to, and from the point of view of just various fields of war that are going on in the world, this could represent a time through mid February and well into March, when we're going to see a quite nasty turn in new objectives for every fighting side, and the battles can become, I think, quite dangerous and quite nasty. We're going to see a considerable upscale of various belligerences going on in the world.
And when is this again?
From the 15th of February on, at
Okay.
least a month and a half.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So we'll talk about that again, well, next month as we get into Pisces.
Right.
In any case, yeah, so there's some awfully good movements going on. Excellent support, I feel, coming to the surface just in time for this major power shift of Pluto that I'm thinking are going to help a lot, sort of soften the transfer, soften the movements, especially this month, which is kind of all of a sudden,
Right, right, right. So it sounds like we're coming into some new energies that are good, but as with anything, it's always going to be a mixed bag.
for sure. It's according to how these lovely movements and the more difficult ones um, show up in one's own birth, in one's own chart, which is always kind of useful to have lying around if you want to look for dates to act, dates to sit still, dates to back off. Uh, all of this can be used to a very good advantage once we know ourselves a little better.
Right. Yeah. So this is a great time to plug getting your natal chart done, which you can do at radiatewellnesscommunity.com/appointment. And so I believe it's Radiate Destiny is the category to schedule an appointment to draw up the natal chart and then have, it's nice to have a natal chart. It's pretty, it's interesting. You put it up on the wall, but it's really meaningless unless you know what it means.
True. True. They're lovely, but deep. Yeah, they require a bit of digging. Nothing's overwhelming in there. The messages are definitely there, but again, we're talking about esoteric subjects, which I think is a pretty silly word. Esotericism. That's always sort of put me off because these are supposed to be hidden, secret, some hidden, secret, coded knowledge that we're not subject to getting hold of. It's there for us, and it's up to us to know how to tap into it. That's the beauty of Aquarius, and this movement of Pluto is going to turn us on to personal responsibility, finding out for ourselves what's going on, and if astrology can help, get it, get it.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think it's good to be equipped with some knowledge about this is why I'm feeling this way. This is why things are so hard right now. Um, it's things are kind of heavy right now. I can look forward to such and such a date when everything clears up. Maybe I push some things off, like some decisions, to a better time. So I
Quite right. Yeah, it's all in timing. I didn't make that up. Paracelsus said that a long time ago. Uh, he who acts without time acts foolishly.
ah,
And when we can use time, when we can use the time to our own advantage, why? It's good. Say la bonne guerre.
yeah,
They
right.
say in
Good
French,
world.
this is the good war. This is the way things should be done.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. Okay, well, this wraps up another sign for us, the first real sign completely in 2024.
True enough. True
True.
enough.
All right, so see you again in Pisces.
Pisces. Yes, indeed.
Pisces.
Everyone take good care of yourselves. Enjoy. And yeah, get a lot of good things done.
Perfect.